Hey, John Martinez here with the 21-day REI Sales Challenge, and topic of today's conversation is multiple decision makers. I want to start this off by reading an email I received yesterday. It says, I got a nice little deal under contract today from a 91-year-old lady who wants to sell so she can move into a retirement village. I asked her, will anyone be upset if you sell? And she replied that she makes decisions. She has some daughters, but all of them are financially independent and well off. Well, 30 minutes later, she calls me back, incredibly upset, and demands that I come back. I get to the house, and there's 3 cars in the driveway. The daughters are all there, screaming and demanding that I give them the original contract for their lawyer. It was hostile. You know what, guys? Multiple decision makers can make what's already a complex deal into an even more complex deal. The reality of the situation is sometimes you think you've got a deal completely wrapped up, and out of nowhere comes family members or different kinds of advisors, and they kill the deal. And when this happens, it actually, at least in my experience, feels worse than normal. You go from that high of locking up a deal, and in your head, you know, that money's already in the bank, and it's mentally spent. And you go from there to your world just kind of crashing down around you, right? And it's worse because psychologically losing something that we feel like we've already locked up, that actually has a bigger personal impact than just not getting the deal to begin with. You know, when we look at it, the reason why is that we all fight 2 to 3 times as hard to keep something we have than going after something. That's why it feels so bad when we lose a deal this way, that we feel like is already locked up, and then another decision maker comes and kills the deal. Now, we can actually use that way people think of that the impact it has when you already feel like you have something and losing it, how hard we fight for it. We can actually use that concept in our favor with some different sales tactics and techniques, but that's a different lesson, so we're going to get into that another time. But today, let's talk about exactly how to handle those multiple decision makers, okay? And tomorrow, we're going to extend this conversation, and we're going to talk about exactly what to do when one or maybe some of those decision makers are missing. They're not right there in front of you, okay? So today, let's talk about what you can do to really prevent this scenario from happening, the scenario that was outlined in that email. A deal getting locked up and then unraveling because of multiple decision makers involved. So when we look at how to handle this, there's really 3 critical steps to really avoiding this nightmare scenario. And here they are, guys. 1, uncover all decision makers. Seems fairly obvious. 2, determine the motivation of each. And 3, determine each decision maker's deal killers. So basically, what we're going to do is take each decision maker through their own sales process. And it's a slightly different way of looking at a deal. So let's go a little deeper into each one of these 3 steps that we need to take to make sure these multiple decision makers don't get the better of us. 1, uncover all decision makers. Now again, that seems fairly obvious, right? Absolutely. But here's the facts. Very few salespeople actually do this, okay? They don't do it for 1 of 2 reasons. Number 1, it's laziness, right? We know we should do it and we just don't. Or number 2, we just don't want to know. We kind of pretend that, hey, it's going to go away if we just don't bring it up, right? Well, that doesn't ever happen. If we don't talk about it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist and it's not there. So it's either laziness or just fear. We don't want to bring it up because we don't want to deal with it. So here's the deal. Decision makers aren't the only decision makers. And here's what I mean by that. Decision makers are really anyone or anything that can influence the decision or the decision maker, right? We often think of the decision maker as who can legally sign off on this deal, who is on the title, who's on the record. But that's not it, right? That's who can make the decision, but we need to start looking at who can influence the decision. So we need to identify decision makers. Not just stop with who can do the deal, but really extend that line of thinking to who can influence that deal, okay? And really, when it comes to this list, that's an endless list. You really don't know who those people are until you dig, right? Those can be CPAs, lawyers, fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, any number of people, okay? So we need to first identify who are all the people that have really some type of influence in this decision. Okay, after we do that, next step is find motivation. Now this is different for everyone. We often zero in on just that one decision maker who can sign off on this thing, and we figure out why would they do it. Well, you know what? If there's other people, if there's multiple decision makers, other people who can influence this decision in any way, we got to figure out what motivates them. It's absolutely different for everyone. Okay? Number 3, what do we have to do? We need to find out all those deal killers. Now, these are also different for everyone, right? We need to find out everyone who can influence the deal. Why would they? What's the one reason or the 2 reasons? Why would they push this deal? Why would they influence a yes decision on the deal? And then why wouldn't they? What are they scared about? What are they concerned about? What are they? What's going to get in the way or block this deal from happening? Now, here's a little bit of a caution, okay? One person's motivation. So we're talking about multiple decision makers. What motivates one person could be another person's deal killer. So if you only uncover one person's motivation and you craft your whole presentation, your whole pitch around that, you may also be telling someone who has heavy influence, basically selling them out of the deal, right? So once you have all this information, once you've uncovered, number 1, who all can influence the deal in any way, number 2, what's their motivation to getting this deal, and number 3, what are their concerns? What can possibly kill this deal? Then we properly modify our presentation. Once we uncover all this information, it's simple. We want to make sure we highlight each influencers, each decision maker's reasons why they would do that deal, and then also address all the things they're concerned about. Guys, that's really it, right? I know that sounds simple, but you got to actually do it, okay? So let me ask you a question. What would your business look like if you started closing more deals with multiple decision makers? You know what? Now that you're thinking about it, let me just ask you another question. How many deals do you think you might have lost because of multiple decision makers when you had no idea there were even multiple decision makers? How many times have you ever actually dug deep to find out who all could influence the decision? And now that you're thinking about that, shoot, what's the potential loss there? 1 deal a week, 1 deal a month, 1 deal a year, 10,000, 50,000 in lost profit? Is it worth doing? Right? Doing anything like this takes a little bit of extra work. You have to step outside of your comfort zone. So you got to ask yourself, should I apply this lesson or not? Okay, so that wraps up today. It says next week, but really tomorrow, unless you open up the next email next week. That's my typo. That's how professional we are over here. But tomorrow, we're going to talk about what to do when you've discovered that one of those decision makers is missing. So that wraps up for today, and I'll see you all on the other side. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.